It's not the loud words that tell you she cares. It's not the grand gestures or the fireworks. No, the truth hides in the whispers, in the quiet moments when no one else is looking. She won't always say, "I like you," but she'll laugh a little too long at your worst joke. She'll remember that small detail you thought you'd forgotten. She'll linger just a second longer before saying goodbye. And here's the part most men never grasp: those aren't accidents. Those are invitations. Little keys she's slipping into your hand, hoping you'll notice. The Stoics taught us, pay attention. Life whispers before it shouts. And if you're too distracted, you'll miss the very moment she's letting you into her world. Now, I remember a young man named David. He was clever, hard-working, and ambitious, but in many ways, blind to the things that truly mattered. He thought affection had to be dramatic, that love was only real if it came with bold declarations, poems, gifts, loud words. But life doesn't always work that way. In fact, most of the time it doesn't. The first time she showed him, it was something so small he almost missed it. He had made a joke, not a good one, not one worth remembering, but she laughed, not because it was funny, but because she wanted him to feel seen. Then, another day, he mentioned his favorite tea in passing, the kind he hadn't drunk since childhood. Weeks later, she placed it in front of him without a word. No announcement, just a gesture. Ordinary on the surface, extraordinary if you knew how to look. That's how it works. The door doesn't swing open all at once. It creaks, inch by inch. And if you're wise, if you're patient, you learn to hear those hinges. The Stoics would tell you, do not overlook the small signs. They are often the most meaningful. Seneca said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. That means paying attention now. And David, slowly, began to see. One evening he walked her home. The night was quiet, the kind of stillness where you hear your own heartbeat. When they reached her door, she didn't rush inside. She lingered. She leaned against the railing, talking about the stars and about the smell of rain in the air. Most men would have brushed it off, thinking, she just likes talking. But that pause, that silence, that refusal to let the night end was her way of saying, stay a little longer. I feel safe with you. Presence speaks louder than words. Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. She didn't explain her feelings. She embodied them in her laughter, her pauses, and her silence. And that's where David learned the truth. She wasn't letting everyone in. She was letting him in, with every small vulnerability, every little confession, and every trust she placed in him. She was handing him pieces of her heart, but David almost missed it. You see, most people do. They're too busy looking for fireworks and speeches. But love, real love, trust, intimacy doesn't come crashing down like thunder. It comes like rain, soft, steady, and almost unnoticeable at first. But over time, it shapes mountains. Years later, when David grew older, he often thought back to those moments. Sitting on his porch, tea in hand, watching the sun dip below the horizon, he realized something profound. The world chases noise. The world worships spectacle. But the Stoics knew better. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And David's life changed the moment his thoughts shifted from chasing the loud to noticing the quiet. She had never needed to shout her affection. She showed it in her constancy, in the way she remembered, and in the way she chose to stay. And that lesson didn't just change how he saw her, it changed how he saw the world. He began to notice kindness in strangers. The small nod of the man who held the door open, the way a neighbor left extra fruit on his porch, the comfort of sitting with a friend in silence, Not because there was nothing to say, but because words weren't needed. Life was filled with these subtle invitations. And once he began to notice, he realized wisdom, joy, and love had been whispering all along. When friends came to him later, broken-hearted and confused about love, they asked, "How do I know when it's real?" He would lean back, smile gently, and say, "Listen closely. If you're waiting for grand speeches, you'll miss the story being told in silence. Pay attention to the subtle ways they let you in. That's where the truth lives. And that's the lesson I want you to hear today. Don't rush. Don't chase the noise. Pay attention to the whispers. Life won't always shout for you. Sometimes it knocks softly, hoping you'll open the door. Remember what Epictetus taught. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. If you're always waiting for grand gestures, you'll miss the priceless treasure already being given in small doses. David would often tell younger men, "We live in an age where people mistake noise for meaning. Social media is full of grand declarations, flowers posted online, long captions about love, and pictures of luxury trips. But real trust, real affection, doesn't always post itself for the world to see. It shows itself in the quiet, in the person who checks if you've eaten. I'm the one who remembers to call when you've gone silent, in the one who notices what others overlook." The Stoics would have smiled at this. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In love, too, it isn't about saying, "I care." It's about embodying it. She doesn't tell you, she shows you. And your task is not to demand fireworks, but to recognize the gentle lantern she lights for you in the dark. I remember another story, this one about an old neighbor of mine, George. He was married for 50 years. When I asked him once what the secret was, he chuckled and said, "It wasn't the anniversaries or the vacations that held us together. It was the Tuesday mornings, the way she'd leave my coffee, just the way I liked it, the way I'd warm her slippers by the fireplace before winter dawns. Big love lives in small rituals, not grand occasions. Isn't that the truth? Love, just like wisdom, is found in the ordinary." Seneca said, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is." The same goes for relationships. It's not how flashy they are, but how true, how consistent, how quietly reliable. Think about it. How often do we overlook the small kindnesses because we're too busy waiting for something spectacular? You scroll through a feed and envy the couple traveling through Paris, but maybe your partner is sitting right next to you, offering a smile that costs nothing and means everything. Life whispers, my friend, and too many of us are deaf to it. David, in his old age, began writing down these thoughts in a small journal. He called it The Little Signs. In it, he wrote, "She let me in when she shared her silence. She let me in when she trusted me with her fears. She let me in when she wanted me near without needing me to speak." That journal became his daily practice, a Stoic reflection like Marcus Aurelius' meditations, but about the art of paying attention to love. And here's the broader lesson. This way of seeing doesn't just apply to romance. It applies to life itself. Opportunities rarely shout. They come quietly, disguised as small chances, a conversation with a stranger, an idea scribbled on a napkin, a quiet urge to start something new. The world will not always give you neon signs. It will give you whispers, and the wise man learns to hear them. So when someone lets you in through trust, through silence, through laughter, don't dismiss it. Recognize it, cherish it, answer it with gratitude. Because as the Stoics remind us, the whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Don't wait for proof beyond the subtle. If life is giving you an open door, step through it now. Now listen closely, because this is where philosophy becomes practice. It's one thing to hear a story about David. It's another to live differently because of it. The Stoics weren't men of theory alone. They believed wisdom had to be lived, tested daily, like steel and fire. So, how do you recognize the subtle ways someone is letting you in? And how do you respond with the kind of wisdom that makes relationships flourish? Let me give you a few practices to carry with you. First, practice presence. Put down the noise. Put down the endless scrolling and the constant distractions. When you're with someone, be with them. Look into their eyes. Notice their pauses, their small shifts in tone, the stories they don't finish. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Pay attention to what's happening in the present. All that you have is this moment. And if you miss this moment, you may miss the truth right in front of you." Second, keep a journal of little signs. David kept his. Every day, reflect on the interactions that mattered. Did someone remember something small about you? Did they stay a little longer when they could have left? Write it down. The Stoics called this prosoche, attention to the self and to life. Writing makes you sharper. It trains you to notice what others overlook. Third, practice gratitude in the small things. When someone lets you in with a gesture, however quiet, don't take it for granted. Respond with thankfulness, not always in words, but in action. If she remembers your favorite tea, perhaps you remember her favorite song and play it one morning. This creates a rhythm, a mutual giving. Seneca said, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Gratitude is how we keep doors open once they've been unlocked. Fourth, learn to honor silence. Most people run from silence. They fill it with chatter, with noise, with nervous laughter. But when someone is willing to sit in silence with you, that is intimacy at its purest. Don't be afraid of it. Sit in it. Share it. That silence is saying more than words ever could. Fifth, examine your own signals. Just as others let you in subtly, ask yourself, how are you letting others in? Do you show trust, vulnerability, and small gestures, or are you waiting for someone to guess your heart? Remember, love and trust aren't one-way streets. They are shared roads, built stone by stone. If you live by these habits, you won't just become better at recognizing when someone is letting you in. You'll become a person worth being let into. And that, son, is the greatest gift of all.